Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to go through the video solutions to the rotations practice questions. If you need any extra help on rotations, if you go to corbettmaths.com/content and scroll down to video number 275, there's a dedicated video tutorial there on rotations. And you can also scan this QR code and bring you straight to that video. But in this video, we're going to go through the video solutions to the rotations practice questions, so let's get started. So let's have a look at question number 1. So question number 1 says rotate the triangle, so this triangle, 90 degrees clockwise. So clockwise, obviously we've got our clockwise, which would be this way. 90 degrees clockwise about the point A. So we want to rotate this triangle 90 degrees clockwise about this point. Now I'm going to use tracing paper to help me with these questions. So I would get my tracing paper, and then I would draw over the triangle, and I would then also put a cross on top of the center of rotation A. So I would draw over the triangle in pencil, and I would also put a cross on top of the center of rotation there. I would also make sure that whenever I put my tracing paper over the shape that it's squared, so it's not diagonal like this. So I've got my tracing paper, I've drawn over the triangle, and then I put a cross on top of the center of rotation. So it would look something like this. So as you can see, we've drawn over the triangle in red, and I put a cross in black on top of the center of rotation. Now what we need to do is rotate the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about this point. So I would gently put my pencil on top of the center of rotation here, so just holding the tracing paper on that point, and then I would just gently rotate the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about it. So it would look something like this. And there you go. As you can see, we rotated the triangle 90 degrees clockwise about that point. So now we've got the tracing paper and we've got the triangle drawn on top of the tracing paper. So then what I would do is I'd take my pencil and I'd push down on top of the triangle that we've drawn, just so there's a light indentation on the paper beneath. Then what I would do is I would remove my tracing paper and draw the triangle. So it would look something like this. So I've removed the tracing paper and I've drawn over the light indentation, and as you can see, there is the rotated triangle. So we have rotated the triangle 90 degrees about the point A, and that's our answer. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, so here's question number 2. So question number 2 says rotate the triangle, so this triangle, 180 degrees about the point B. So we want to rotate this triangle 180 degrees about this point B. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to get our tracing paper and we're going to put it over the triangle and the center of rotation. So something like that. And we're going to draw a cross over the center of rotation, and we're going to draw over the triangle. And then whenever we do that, it would look something like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the triangle, this triangle, 180 degrees about this point. So again, I would get my pencil, I'd put it gently on top of the center of rotation, and I'd lightly spin the tracing paper around, so it would look something like this. So as you can see, we've rotated the triangle 180 degrees about the point B. Now we could have went the other way. In this case, I went anti-clockwise, but I could have rotated the triangle clockwise, because if you rotate it 180 degrees clockwise or anti-clockwise, it'll end up in the same place anyway. So as you can see, we've now got the tracing paper where we've got the cross over the center of rotation, and we've got where the triangle will be. So get your pencil and press down on top of the triangle. So there's going to be a light indentation on the page so you can see where the triangle is going to go. And then it would hopefully look something like this. And then whenever you remove the tracing paper and draw over the light indentations, it should look something like this. And that's it, we've rotated the triangle 180 degrees about the point B. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, so question number 3. So question number 3, we've been given this triangle ABC, and we've been asked to rotate this triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise about the center 0, 0, so about the origin. So this is going to be our center of rotation, the origin. So I'm just going to put a cross on the page there where the center of rotation will be. Then what we'll do is we'll get our tracing paper, we'll put it over the shape and the center of rotation, so something like that. And again, making sure it's straight so it's not diagonal. And then what we're going to do is draw a cross over the center of rotation, and we're going to draw over the triangle. And whenever we do that, it should look something like this. So as you can see, on our tracing paper, we've drawn the triangle on the tracing paper, and we've also drawn the cross on top of where the center of rotation is. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about this point. So put your pencil on top of the center of rotation, just holding the tracing paper in place, and then we're going to just gently rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So because we're going clockwise, we're going to be rotating it this way. So we're going to be going clockwise, we're rotating it 90 degrees clockwise. So whenever we do that, it should look something like this. And that's it, so we've rotated the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, or the point 0, 0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our pencil and we're going to draw over the triangle on the tracing paper, so it'll leave a light indentation on the page beneath. We'll then remove our tracing paper and then draw over that indentation, and then that will leave us our nice triangle on the page, and it will look something like this. And that's it. And as you can see, we've rotated triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, or the center 0, 0. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 4. Okay, let's have a look at question number 4. So here we've got our coordinate grid and we have got our shape A, a trapezium, and we've been asked to rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. So we've been asked to rotate this shape, this trapezium, 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So this time it's anti-clockwise, so we're going this way. So we're rotating it 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. Let's draw a cross on top of the origin because that's our center of rotation. So we're going to be rotating about that point, the point 0, 0. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to get our tracing paper and we're going to put it over the trapezium and also over the center of rotation, like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our pencil and we're going to draw over the trapezium, and we're also going to put a cross on top of where the center of rotation is. And whenever we do that, it should look something like this. So we've now drawn over the trapezium, so we've drawn over shape A, and we've also put a cross on the center of rotation. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. So let's put our pencil on top of where the center of rotation is and gently hold it there in place, and then rotate or spin the tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise about that point. Whenever you do that, it should look something like this. And as you can see, we've rotated our tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. Now what we're going to do is get our pencil and we're going to draw over the shape on the tracing paper so it leaves a light indentation on the page beneath. And then what we'll do is we'll remove our tracing paper and draw that shape. And then it would look something like this. And that's it. So that's the shape. So we've rotated A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin, the point 0, 0. Okay, let's have a look at question number 5. Okay, so here we've got question number 5, and we have got two rectangles, the rectangle A and the rectangle B. And if we scroll down and have a look at the question, it says Dylan has been asked to rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin, and he's labelled his answer B. Explain his mistake. So he's meant to have rotated A, and if we think about it, 90 degrees anti-clockwise, so we're meant to be going this way, 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the origin. So let's put a cross on top of the origin, and let's actually rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise and see where it would go. So let's get our tracing paper and put it over the center of rotation and A, and let's actually rotate the shape like Dylan's meant to and see where the answer should be. And then after we do that, we might actually know what he's done wrong. Actually, I can see what he's done wrong here, because he's meant to rotate it 90 degrees anti-clockwise, and if he's rotating this shape A 90 degrees anti-clockwise, it should really end up down here somewhere. Because it's over here, I'm thinking he may have rotated it 90 degrees clockwise. So let's have a look and see if that's what he's done. So let's draw over our center of rotation and over our rectangle A on our tracing paper, and it would look something like this. So we've drawn over A and we've drawn on top of our center of rotation, and then holding our pencil gently on top of the origin, if we rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise, let's see where it would go to. So that's where the rectangle should be, and he should have labelled that B. Let's actually go back to A and see if that's what he's done, if he's rotated 90 degrees clockwise instead of anti-clockwise. So if we rotate A 90 degrees clockwise instead of anti-clockwise, let's see where A would go to. And as you can see, that's exactly where he's drawn the shape B. So Dylan has actually rotated A 90 degrees clockwise rather than 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So let's write that down. And I've just written down he's rotated 90 degrees clockwise instead of 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, so here we've got question number 6, and we've been asked to rotate the triangle ABC. So we've got this triangle ABC 180 degrees about center 1, 0. So this time the center of rotation isn't the origin, it's center 1, 0. So let's plot that point 1, 0. So it's going to be 1 along, 0 up. So that's the center of rotation there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our tracing paper, we're going to put it over the triangle and the center of rotation, and we're going to mark on our tracing paper a little X where the center of rotation is, and we're going to draw over our triangle. And when we've done that, it should look something like this. Now we've drawn over the triangle and also over the center of rotation, we can rotate the triangle ABC 180 degrees about the center 1, 0. Now notice it just says 180 degrees because it doesn't matter if we're going to go clockwise or anti-clockwise, it'll end up in the same location. So let's do that. So we've rotated our tracing paper 180 degrees about the center of rotation. So we just kept our pencil on top of the center of rotation. We just gently span that tracing paper around. So we've rotated it 180 degrees. And so it's now straight again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw over the triangle so that we have got a light indentation on the page beneath. And then whenever we remove our tracing paper, we can then draw over that. And it would look something like this. And that's it. So that's where the triangle would go to. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 7. So question number 7, we've been given a triangle and we've been asked to rotate this triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise about center 1, 2. So let's plot that center of rotation 1, 2. So 1, 2, that's going to be 1 along, 2 up. So that's the center of rotation. And we've been asked to rotate the shape 90 degrees clockwise. So that's going to be that way, clockwise, about this point. So let's get our tracing paper and we'd put it on top of the center of rotation and also the triangle, and we'd make sure it's straight, and we'd draw over the center of rotation and over the triangle, and it would look something like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about this point. So we put our pencil on top of the center of rotation and just lightly rotate the tracing paper until we've rotated it 90 degrees clockwise. So it looks something like this. So we've now rotated our tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw over the triangle, so we leave that light indentation on the page beneath. We'll remove the tracing paper and then we'll draw over that indentation, and then that will be our answer. So let's do that. And that's it. So we have rotated the triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 2. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, so question number 8, we've been asked to rotate the shape A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the point 5, -1. So let's plot that point 5, -1. So 5, -1 will be here, so that's our center of rotation here. And we want to rotate 90 degrees anti-clockwise, so that's anti-clockwise about that point. So then we'll get our tracing paper, we'll put it over the shape and the center of rotation, making sure it's straight, not diagonal or anything. And then we'll draw over the center of rotation and over the shape. And it would look something like this. Now what we're going to do is rotate our tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So putting our pencil on top of the center of rotation, we're just going to lightly rotate the tracing paper, so it looks something like this. So we've rotated our tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the point 5, -1. We'll now draw over that shape lightly so that we leave that light indentation on the paper beneath. And then what we'll do is we'll remove our tracing paper and draw over those indentations. So it looks something like this. And that's it. So we've rotated shape A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the center, or about center of rotation, 5, -1. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at question number 9. So we've got this quadrilateral, a trapezium A, and we've been asked to rotate A 180 degrees about center, -1, 2. So let's plot the center of rotation, -1, 2. So that's a -1, 2 there. And we're going to rotate this shape 180 degrees about that center of rotation. So let's get our tracing paper, and making sure it's straight and it's not diagonal, we're going to draw over the center of rotation and we're going to draw over the shape A. And it would look something like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tracing paper 180 degrees about the center of rotation. Now we could go anti-clockwise or clockwise. I'm going to go clockwise because I've got a bit more room to rotate the shape clockwise. So we'd put our pencil on top of the center of rotation and we just lightly rotate the paper 180 degrees about that point. So it looks something like this. So we've rotated the tracing paper 180 degrees about the center of rotation. Now what we're going to do is draw over the shape on the tracing paper. We're going to press down on it so it leaves an indentation on the page beneath. We'll then remove the tracing paper and draw over those indentations, and it would look something like this. And that's it. So we have rotated shape A 180 degrees about the center, -1, 2. And we could have went clockwise or anti-clockwise, and I just went clockwise here because I had a bit more room to go clockwise. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 10. So question number 10, we've been asked to rotate 90 degrees clockwise about center to -4. So we're going to rotate this triangle 90 degrees clockwise about the center to -4. So let's plot the point 2, -4 to begin with. So that's our center of rotation to -4. And then we're going to get our tracing paper. And we're going to put it over the shape and also over the center of rotation, making sure that our tracing paper is straight. Okay, so we'll draw over those and it would look something like this. Now in this question we've been asked to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. We're going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise, so we're going to be spinning this way, and we're going to put our pencil on top of the center of rotation. We're going to keep the tracing paper where it is there, and we're going to just gently rotate the tracing paper around that point until we've turned it 90 degrees clockwise. So let's do that. And that's it. So I've rotated the tracing paper 90 degrees clockwise about the point to -4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw over the triangle on the tracing paper, so it leaves that indentation on the page beneath. We'll then get our pencil and draw over those indentations to mark where our triangle will be. So let's do that. And that's it. So we've rotated the triangle 90 degrees clockwise about the center of rotation to -4. And that's our answer. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So question number 11. So question number 11, we have been given a quadrilateral, this shape A, and we've been asked, it's a trapezium, and we've been asked to rotate it 180 degrees about 0, -2. So let's mark where 0, -2 is. So 0, -2 would be here, and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees about that point. Now we can either go clockwise or anti-clockwise, it's really your choice. I'm going to go clockwise because I have a bit more room. But anyway, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. First of all, I need to get my tracing paper, and I need to draw over the center of rotation, and I need to draw over the quadrilateral, the trapezium. And then whenever I do that, it would look something like this. And we're now going to rotate the tracing paper 180 degrees about this point. So we're going to put our pencil on top of the center of rotation, holding it in position there, and we're going to just rotate the tracing paper until we've rotated it 180 degrees, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. I'm going to go clockwise here because, again, I've got a bit more room to go that way. So doing that. And that's it. So I've rotated the tracing paper 180 degrees about the center, 0, -2. So that's the tracing paper rotated. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw over the quadrilateral. So we're going to press down over the quadrilateral of the trapezium. We're going to draw over the top of it until there's a light indentation on the paper beneath. And then what we're going to do is draw over those indentations, and it would look something like this. And that's it. So we've rotated shape A 180 degrees about the point 0, -2. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at question number 12. So question number 12, we've been given our grid and we've been given two triangles, A and B. And we've been asked to describe fully the single transformation that would map triangle A onto triangle B. So let's consider our transformations. We've got a translation where we slide the shape. Well, to go from A to B, it's not just going to be a slide, so no, it's not a translation. A reflection where we reflect the shape. Now, if I was reflecting this, I would think perhaps the mirror line might be the x-axis, but if I reflected it, this point would go down here somewhere, this point would go here. It wouldn't actually look the same as B, so it's not going to be a reflection. Enlargement. Now, in terms of an enlargement, that's where the shape gets bigger or smaller, or even goes in the opposite direction. That's negative scale factors, and I'll talk about that later. But in this case, we're going to look at the rotation. So to get from A to B, we would rotate triangle A to get to triangle B. And whenever we're describing the transformation, we need to say what it is. So in this case, I think it's a rotation. We need to say how many degrees and the direction it's going. So is it 90 degrees clockwise or 90 degrees anti-clockwise or 180 degrees? And we also need to say where the center of rotation is. So to get from A to B, I think it's going to be a 180 degree rotation because the top here is now on the bottom, the base of the triangle is now at the top. So it looks like a 180 degree rotation, and we just need to figure out where the center of rotation would be. So to do that, what I would do is I'd mark on where I think the center of rotation would be in pencil on my grid. So it might be here perhaps. Then what I would do is I'd get my tracing paper, I would draw over the triangle and over the center of rotation. So it would look something like this. And then what I would do is I would rotate the tracing paper 180 degrees about that point and see if it lands on top of where B is. So let's do that and see if it works. And as you can see, if we rotate triangle A 180 degrees about the point 2, 1, it doesn't land on where B would be. So let's get rid of that. That wasn't the right option. We'll rub out our center of rotation using our rubber, because that's not the right one. So we'll just get our rubber and rub that out. And then we'll try a new one. So I'm going to go down a bit. So I'm going to try now the point 2, 0. So let's get our tracing paper, put it over the center of rotation 2, 0 and the triangle and draw over the top of them. And it would look something like this. And now what we're going to do is rotate this triangle 180 degrees about the point 2, 0 and see if it lands on top of B. And as you can see, if we rotate triangle A 180 degrees about the point 2, 0, it lands on top of B. And that's it. So that's going to be our transformation, a rotation of 180 degrees. We don't need to say clockwise or anti-clockwise, about the point 2, 0. So let's write that down. And that's it. So I've just written down a rotation of 180 degrees about the center of rotation 2, 0. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Okay, question number 13. So in question number 13, we've been given our grid and we've got triangle A and triangle B. And again, we've been asked to describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. So let's consider our transformations. Is it a translation? No, it's not just been slid. It looks like it's been rotated. Has it been reflected? No. Has it been enlarged? No. And is it a rotation? Yeah, I think it is. To go from A to B, I think we're going to rotate A to get to B. I think it's going to be a 90 degrees rotation because if we think about it, the side of the triangle here of A is now the top and the bottom is now the left hand side. So I think it's going to be a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. So I think it's a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. Well, we'll test that out with our tracing paper in a minute. And we now need to consider where the center of rotation would be. So let's try the origin. So let's say if we rotate A 90 degrees about the origin, would it land on top of B? And let's see if that's right. We'll put it over A and we'll put it over the origin as well. And we'll put our pencil on the origin and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise and we'll see where that goes. So let's draw over them and see what that looks like. So if we draw over the origin and over shape A, it would look something like that. Now what we're going to do is put our pencil there and we're going to rotate the paper 90 degrees clockwise. So let's do that. And as you can see, if we rotate shape A 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, it lands on top of B. So that's our rotation. It is a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, the point 0, 0. So let's write that down. And that's it. So I've said it's a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So our next question, we have got two quadrilaterals. We've got this trapezium and this trapezium, A and B. And we've been asked to describe fully the single transformation, can't quite see it here, that maps A onto B. So we want to see how do we get from A to B. So is it a translation? No. Is it a reflection? No. Is it an enlargement? No. Is it a rotation? Yes, I think it is. And to get from A to B, I think I'm going to rotate. Now, if you have a look at it, the base of A is here. Now, the base of B is standing up vertical there. So I think that's going to be a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. I think it's 90 degrees clockwise. So let's now try and find our center of rotation. So if we tried the origin, so let's try to rotate A 90 degrees clockwise about the origin and see where it goes. So let's get our tracing paper and put it on top of the origin and A and draw over the top of it. So it looks something like this. Now we're going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. So we're going to put our pencil on top of the origin and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise and see where that goes to. So when we rotate 90 degrees clockwise, it would look something like this, and that's not on top of B. Okay, so it's not the origin, so let's try a different point. So let's draw about the origin, and let's try a different point. Let's try the point 1, 1. So let's get our tracing paper, and we've now got the center of rotation 1, 1, and we're going to rotate the shape A 90 degrees clockwise about 1, 1, and see if it lands on top of B. So let's do that. And that's it. So you can see that A has landed on top of B. So the transformation that would map A onto B would be a 90 degrees clockwise rotation about the point 1, 1. So let's write that down. And that's it. So I've said it's a rotation 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 1. Okay, let's have a look at our last question. So question number 15. So here we've got question number 15, a grid, and we've got two triangles, A and B. And it says Sean has been asked to rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise about the point -1, 1. Explain his mistake. So let's actually take A and rotate it 90 degrees anti-clockwise about -1, 1 and see, if that might give us a clue as to what his mistake could be. So we're going to get our pencil and we're going to mark on the center of rotation -1, 1. So -1, 1 will be here. So that would be the center of rotation. And then we'll get our tracing paper and we'll put it over the center of rotation and the triangle, and we'll draw over the triangle and over the center of rotation, and it would look something like this. Now he's been asked to rotate A 90 degrees anti-clockwise, so we're going anti-clockwise here, so we're going this way. So it looks like it's going in the right direction, and it looks like it's a 90-degree rotation, so let's have a look and see. So we'll get our pencil, we'll put it over the center of rotation, we'll hold the tracing paper in place, and we'll rotate the tracing paper 90 degrees anti-clockwise, so it would look something like this. So as you can see, if he rotated A 90 degrees anti-clockwise, it would actually land up here somewhere. So that's actually a lot higher than where he's actually drawn the shape. So he's drawn B down here, where B should be up here somewhere. Now if we have a look at B, he has rotated it 90 degrees anti-clockwise because it's in the same orientation as B. So that means that it's not, his mistake won't be the fact that it's a 90-degree anti-clockwise rotation. He has done that. I think the problem is going to be his center of rotation. I don't think he's used the center of rotation -1, 1. Let's try another center of rotation and see if that might be the reason. Now I was considering using -1, -1 because instead of -1, 1, I was thinking, would it be -1, -1? So he just, instead of using -1, 1, he's used -1, -1. Whenever you look at this, if we were to rotate this, it wouldn't land down here somewhere. So let's try somewhere else. I'm not going to try the point 1, -1. I'm going to try what happens if he's mixed the coordinates up and see what would happen. So if we get our tracing paper and we draw over the center of rotation and the triangle A, and if we were to rotate that 90 degrees anti-clockwise, let's see where it would go. And it's landed on B. So that's the rotation he's done. So Sean hasn't rotated A about -1, 1. He's rotated A about 1, -1. So let's explain that. And that's it. So it says Sean has rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise about 1, -1 rather than -1, 1. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the rotations practice questions. If you need any extra help on rotations, if you go to corbettmaths.com/contents and you try video 275, that's the video tutorial on rotations. But I hope you found this video useful. I hope it's helped you go through any of the answers you needed to check. If you have found it useful, please like it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.